Yes, I have a news release that will be issued tonight through the Deputy Clerk. Municipality of Port Hope has accepted the CAO's resignation. Council is announcing today that Eugene Todd has resigned from his position as CAO for the Municipality of Port Hope. By mutual agreement, Council has accepted Mr. Todd's resignation, effective immediately. The press release will be initiated, and Council has identified we have appreciated Mr. Todd's contribution over the past 15 years. Council will appoint an interim CAO while we are undertaking the process to hire a new Chief Administrative Officer, and as those plans come forward, they will be made public.
Next! A few weeks ago, we were invited to come out to Canton, to Municipal Hall, to voice our frustrations with how the garden project went along the river. And a number of people did show up. I'm afraid you couldn't be there. I know you had prior commitments, and that's fine. The reason that I'm here tonight is because, you know, I work on the main street. I live in the town of Port Hope, and I constantly see people standing on the street corner. I have numbers of people standing in my store, and we're all talking about the same thing. And I know coming here tonight, I said to a lot of my friends and my family, if you have something to say, come to town council and say it. And I know that by coming here tonight, there's lots of people here that don't agree with anything that I'm going to say. And that's one of the wonderful things about democracy, is that we can meet in this room, we can have different points of view, but we can get along and voice our concerns to all these people that we've elected. And so that's why I'm here. I don't necessarily have a question, and I will try to be as succinct as possible.
All I can tell you in the future, every dollar in this municipality is being looked at by this council. Taxes were our #1 priority when we met 5 days after the election and had a 3-hour meeting. And I can guarantee you that every department head in this municipality are going to be accountable, okay, for their budget. And if they're not accountable, there will be action taken. We as a council want to know before any project goes over budget, okay? Come to us, let us know. There is circumstances where projects go over budget. We have to know about it. We don't want to be blindsided again. You know, it's embarrassing to us sitting up here, what's been going on, and we're going to try to put a stop to it, Mr. Holden.
I was wondering if you could just comment, will there be any criminal investigation or criminal charges as a consequence of the resignation?
We accepted, council accepted the CAO's resignation, and that has not been discussed.
There's no investigation for spending unauthorized? No investigation for...
We haven't discussed that.
Is it going to be discussed?
Well, if the mayor wants to bring it forward at some time, or some other councillor wants to bring it forward, we would discuss it.
So what you're saying is that there was no spending in the context of the pillar project without authorization?
I'm not saying that. I was not on council when that project came forward, so I cannot comment on that, Mr. Bill.
Who can?
Yeah, who can?
Please, somebody
Speak up.
Through you, Mr. Chair, as was identified at the meeting on February 3rd and the resolution that was passed last week, a complete and detailed report will come forward. All of the information has been made public to this date through the meeting on February 3rd, and Council passed a resolution to bring all of that information forward.
Thank you.
I think you need to publish the fact whether the CAO was invited to resign and therefore fired, or was the CAO voluntarily submitting his resignation. The reason I think that has to be public is not to embarrass the individual, but is there a severance package?
Here, here.
Was this decision made by that individual for cause? If it wasn't, why wasn't it? And has there been any action taken to determine whether these numbers, these overages, were known before the last election?
Here, here, here.
And if those numbers were known before the last election and were not made known to the public, then there was a certain undercurrent to the situation that goes beyond the individual personnel decision.
This council does not talk about personnel issues in the public. It's all done behind closed doors, where it should be according to the Municipal Act. In regards to setting up a committee, we've now had 9 budget meetings. The press has attended 3 those meetings, and not one member of the public has been at a budget meeting, sir. Not one member of the public. All of our budget meetings are open to the public, and there hasn't been one person present.
But we'll show up from now on.
Okay.
And a business person who is doing the work would submit invoices every 30 days. So there should have been an invoice for June the 1st, July the 1st, August the 1st, September the 1st. We all should have known, and the finance department of this community should have known how much over budget was. I can't believe for a moment that it took 5 or 6 months for us to find out how much over budget they were. There's something seriously wrong. And as a business person myself, I don't wait 4 or 5 months to invoice. I do it every 30 days. I believe it is very important that we have an investigation of this billing process and the contractors and everybody else involved so that we know the actual truth of what's going on. Because I and many others are not buying into the fact that they just found out last week how much over budget it is. Mr. Chairman, can you assure me and the people of our community that you can get to the bottom of this one way or another through audit of the billing situations? And if it was not covered up or put away or lost under a desk or put on a counter?
As a one-member council, I can't do anything. If the full council want to do it, then they'll look at it. You know,
It is finance.
You know how the process works. Somebody has to put it on the floor, and council would vote on it. You know, I don't have that authority to ask for a full audit. You know.
Well, it's a very simple audit. I could do it in about 5 minutes. Just calling up the contractor and getting those invoices. Thank you very much for your assistance.
We, my wife and I, bought our house in 1964 for $12,000, and our taxes were less than $1 a day. I can remember when we hit 365, I told her we had to sell it. We couldn't afford it. I was making labor rate of $1.88 in nickels and dimes. Now, my interim tax bill this year is more than $10 a day, and my house is assessed at $214,500. Why? So you can get more money out of me in taxes? Do you think I'm going to be able to sell that house for $214,000 and pay $14,000, $12,000?
No.
It ain't going to happen.
No.
All right. I was 31. Now I'm 78 and been retired for 20 years. I cannot raise my income to meet your demands. There's just no way. It's not possible. I'm going to run out of money as it is. I look at what some members of town staff have spent in the pillars and the dredging without, council approval and or public input. Some of these people are still running loose around here, and it scares the hell out of me. If I was in charge, and any member of my council, committee, or staff did anything similar, I would seek approval to remove them without any hesitation. To quote an Italian proverb, when the ship has sunk, everyone knows how she made it safe. But I tell you this in all sincerity, you keep on getting what you've been getting, and you keep on doing what you've been doing.
In the Thursday, February the 10th edition of this newspaper, Dave Turk, directed to Dave Turk, you are quoted as telling the Finance Committee that starting at the bottom of the list of Port Hope residents whose tax bills are in arrears, foreclosure of those properties should commence. You said that might send some shudders up the totem pole. My question is this: was that comment directed strictly at our native community, or is it directed at all of us? And number two, as a real estate agent, does Councillor Turk not see the glaring conflict of interest in promoting the seizure of properties for tax arrears?
I believe that all Mr. Turk is doing is what the Municipal Act says after 3 years, what the municipality can do to collect the taxes.
As a real estate agent.
You have to show us that you care. Otherwise, this is going to keep going and going and going, and what you have is an issue of trust. You got to get our trust back. You talk about this tax thing. In a business, if you don't have the money to do something, you don't get to do it. You can't say we'll go into a deficit or whatever, or we'll just raise everybody's taxes. You can't
I can
do it.
guarantee you, 7 people sitting on this side of the fence, okay, if they didn't care, they wouldn't be putting in 30 and 40 hours a week. This is our municipality, same as yours, okay? I work full-time and I'm still putting in 30 and 40 hours because I care about this municipality the same as everybody else on this side of the table, so we do care.
Well, I understand that, but you don't seem to be able to get the problem. There is a problem. You don't
We
seem
never
to-
have problems, we only have solutions, and that's what we're trying to do.
But I only have one question. I've lived here all my life, as people know, my uncle was just up here, his dad and his dad. I've walked my kids, my grandkids over that bridge. Are they going to tear down them ugly buildings? Ray Charles would think they're ugly.
Well, Mr. Hill, I think your worship mentioned that there is a report that's got to come forward to this council of what happened. There is a committee set up, okay, of citizens and a heritage committee to come back with some recommendations to this council. So that's due probably by March, end of March, I believe, in around there.
Look, I bet there's a one council member here that likes those pillars.
Watch
There's a vote.
video.
Yeah, ask them.
Is there any councilor here that likes those posts? Jeff?
Ask the people!
How about the mayor?
No. If nobody likes it, including the citizens that paid for the goddamn thing, that's right.
I'm located directly between where the movie gallery used to be and Kyle's Meat Market used to be. I am just up the way from where the Cozy Corner used to be and Reed's Dairy used to be. I am so far a survivor. I bought 2 years ago, and this town helped me buy 2 weeks after me buying, tearing up Peter Street for 6 months. I think 6 months was an exorbitant amount of time, knowing construction very well as I came from the nuclear plants and could have controlled that job myself for less than 2. I'm very upset in that 6 months of pretty much no revenues took up every bit of revenue that I had gained. All my savings were gone at that point. And now, in order to reward me, the town has been kind enough to send my water rates up through the roof to pay for that construction. I'm at a position right now where my 2009 water bill was $5,000, almost even. My 2010 was $11,000 and change. My projected for next year, once we're into the new rates completely, will be over $15,000. The concern is that this is the month where I have run completely out. My credit cards are taxed to their limit. This bill cannot be paid. And I am now operating at a cost which does seem to exceed the revenues I do get from my machines. The problem that is compounding there is that the coin slots in my machines are older, and it's $20,000 retrofit for me to be able to even charge the amount of money I would have to charge to be able to continue business. I'm beside myself at this point. I think it's a personal vendetta that this town has taken upon me. Up until that point, I was very comfortable. I am a personal, private enterprise. I am not a corporation. Therefore, not only will I lose this business, probably at the end of next month, I will then lose the real estate investments that I had. My income properties will be gone. and I will lose my home. And it's a reality at this stage. I've done the math. And I want to know why high consumers of water are paying considerably more per unit than small consumers. That goes against the whole idea of economics and supply and demand. It is ridiculous that I know I'm a high water user, but this is a service that is extremely important to this town. It is a need for the town, and you're about to lose it. And I've done my very best. I work 16-hour days for the privilege of taking home $0. So thank you.
I would really like to know what the council thinks of those pillars. I'd like everybody that's in favor of those pillars to stand up. Would you vote in favor of those pillars today if you had the choice?
I think I will. I don't always get a report come in. I don't really tear them down is not the answer right now, but maybe there's a compromise as Mr. Burns had said before.
I want to make a note of the gentleman. I don't want to let that go understated of what he said. I don't know if you people visit laundromats. You probably don't, but I did. I met this gentleman. I thought he was the nicest, one of the nicest people I met in a small business. And that story upsets me. And I understand and the emotion that we feel regarding these ugly pillars. You don't even have to be in the town of Port Hope. Go outside the town of Port Hope and people are commenting on the ugly pillars. That's what upsets me.
But I have never seen a community so distraught, disappointed, and unhappy in what is happening. And I really pray that this council can do something that will make and bring this community together. Because boy, oh boy, you are seeing people drop by the wayside because they can't afford their taxes, they can't keep their businesses, they can't keep their homes. And it's just so sad to see it. I'm sitting here with a group of people who are almost in tears listening to these stories tonight. So I really pray, because these people are all passionate about Port Hope and our Ward 2. And we really pray that something wonderful can happen, that we can all be a community again. We can walk down our main street, we can be proud of who we are, and we can just be thrilled to live in Port Hope.
And just before I continue, I want to let you know openly that I am a huge supporter of Cameco Corporation. He said we should build on our strengths. We should use what we know about the nuclear industry, and we should build a new Center for Nuclear Excellence here in Port Hope. You know what I think we should do? I think that we should put that on hold, and we should help John and the Shell station at the top of town that's gone out of business. When I go on your website, if I go to the Idea Hub and look at who manages the website for the Idea Hub, it's a company in Waterloo, for God's sakes. There are people that can do it here, I promise. Before you go ahead and spend another $500,000 on something like a riverside garden, it may be beautiful, but why don't we do this? Why don't we invite Zach Andrus and his family to take the weekend off and build the barrier-free change rooms at the Jack Berger Sports Complex for him? Yeah. So that he and his family can enjoy a complex that we all get to enjoy 100% of the time. We get to enjoy it because we can walk there. This young lad he's got to raise the dough. He's got to raise the dough to put up barrier-free playground equipment. And yet we have $500,000 to piss away on a garden to replace the garden. Just put a code of thought on everything you do. And I can guarantee you that the next time we meet here, we will be your biggest cheering section. Thank you.